Welcome to Southwest Florida Real Estate Update, hosted by area realtor Jim York and York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty. Our show will bring you the most up-to-date information about the local real estate market, featuring leading experts in the real estate field.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael York with the York Real Estate Group, and welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update. Today with our host Jim York and his guest Mark LYE, Membership Director at the Old Collier Golf Club.
Thank you, Michael, for the introduction. Well, I'm here again with Mark LYE, and this is an exciting night. We're going to talk about your new adventure, but before we do that for our viewers, would you mind just telling them a little bit about yourself?
Well, Jim, as you know, my whole life has been golf. I started when I was 9 years old, went to college and played mini tour golf, but played on the PGA Tour for 18 years, played international tours for a couple of years, and then went to work for Golf Channel for 18 years. So 2 18-year stints, and now I'm on my last 18-hole round. I'm the Director of Membership at Old Collier Golf Club, and earlier this year I started a new endeavor. You know, they always say when you get too old for TV and you don't start looking good anymore, then you go to radio. Well,
Gray hair.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't show up on camera very well. But I started listening to Sirius XM radio around the Masters in 2015, and I got hooked on this station. I just did. I mean, I'm a golfer, you know, and so coincidentally, before the U.S. Open, Sirius XM, it's Sirius 208 XM 92, called and asked me if I'd be interested in doing a show, and I said, no way. But, you know, after thinking about it some more and thinking about my charitable endeavors, one of them is for juvenile diabetes, do a big tournament for them, and I'm heavily involved with a lot of charities around town. I figured this radio thing might work for that. Because, you know, even though you're only on 1 hour a week on the radio, it's on Tuesday nights from 8 to 9. Even though it's only 1 hour on radio, I'm actually studying all weekend long for that 1 hour. Yeah, so I said I would never do anything like that. But you know something? To never say never. But anyway, it's a blast. I've enjoyed the show, and I'm on it with a guy named Bruce Murray, who I've known for 20 years. I used to do radio with Bruce Murray, who's a football guy. And every weekend when I first started with Golf Channel in the middle 90s, I would go on his show for a 15-minute segment, and it was just a blast. And so it so happens that Bruce Murray still works on radio for Sirius XM. He does a show with, I think, Rich Gannon, NFL station.
I think he was,
yeah, and so I said, hey, can I do this show with my buddy Bruce Murray? And they said, heck yeah, you could do it with him. So I said, oh, that's great. So it's the quickest hour of my life is going on to this show and talking golf for just an hour. I mean, it really goes by like that. So it's a lot of fun.
So tell us some of the subjects that you cover when you're talking golf.
Well, here it is. It's called Unfiltered. The name of the show is called Time to Let It Fly, and it's always about the things I could never say on TV. You know, in TV, I'm pretty much an outspoken guy. If I don't like somebody, like Tiger or Phil or whatever, I would have my moments where I would call them out and say, guy shouldn't have done that. You know, shouldn't have done that. But on television, you know, you have to be politically correct, and you can't say anything that can be taken wrong. So I always felt like on TV, I said, you know, I'm only 10 minutes away from losing my job forever. You know, I mean, I could say honestly how I felt about somebody, and it could be taken the wrong way. Well, in radio, I asked my main boss, I said, can I get taken off the air for anything? He said, look, Howard Stern's on our air, and he knocks him dead. So is there anything that you're possibly going to say worse than Howard Stern? I said, heck no. So anyway, they have hundreds of stations. And this is a golf channel, you know, it's called PGA Tour Radio, and it's all about golf, and it's all about the people that you want to know about behind the scenes, and that's what I'm able to offer them, because I've been there, played golf with these guys, I've covered them on Golf Channel, and I know what they're like in the back room, not out in front of the fans signing autographs. So that's what I try to convey to the audience, is what they're really like, and that's what they want to know.
And are you, I thought you mentioned to me that you're going to talk about the tournament prior to the week, right?
Correct.
A little bit of touch base, a little bit on that too.
Right. It's a perfect night for us because Monday Night Football is there. I wanted to do it on Monday night because to keep the last tournament fresh, but I didn't want to compete against Monday Night Football.
Right.
And so my buddy Bruce Murray, who's a football guy, said, yeah, that would be a career ender right there on radio. So he says, let's do it on Tuesday night. So what we're doing is we're covering the last week's play and the week coming up. So it gives us a whole lot of stuff to cover. And you know, there's so many personalities in golf right now. I mean, with these young kids that are coming out there, it's just really awesome. And I've been able to follow them at this year's U.S. Open and this year's PGA and a couple of other events that you know, I know a little bit more about them, and they're not the same that they appear to you. If you're watching on TV and you know you're kind of watching them do interviews, you think, I think I know that guy and I kind of like him. Well, I see different sides of these guys, so you know it's always a good and a bad, and I think for the most part it's 80% really good, and there's maybe 20% that's not good. And so I kind of bring up those levels. Nobody wants to listen to all positive all the time. You know, they always want a little bit, not dirt, but they want to hear the other side of the coin.
That's right.
So that's what I offer on the show. And Bruce Murray's a comedian, and he is a real funny guy. And if I get in trouble, he'll bail me out. So it's a great twosome, I feel, because he knows the game. And we have a lot of friends over the years since I've played on the tour, and I've met a lot of football people. So we plan on having a couple of football guys on. It'll be during football season, obviously. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to start this new endeavor.
Mark, we're going to take a little short break, and then we're going to come back. I want to finish up on your show, but I want to also talk about some of your charity work that you do in the Naples area. We'll be right back.
Thinking of buying or selling a home in Naples, Marco, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Think of the most experienced York Real Estate Group associated with the #1 brokerage in Naples, Downing Fry Realty, which produced $1.9 billion in sales in 2014, controlling 43% of all transactions in Naples. Jim, Michael, and Morgan York make up the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty. With over $250 million in sales transactions, they can offer you the expertise and trust you want and need in a realtor. Call them today at 239-273-6727 or visit their website, www.naplesyorkrealestate.com.
Welcome back. Mark, why don't you just tell us a little bit about a story that you might have for when you were out on tour?
You know, people ask me about, you know, what's the funniest moment you've ever had on the PGA Tour on TV. I've had a bunch of them out there, but the one that really sticks out in my mind was my buddy, a guy named Ed Fiore. He's a little guy, but he won 4 times on the tour, and one time he took down Tiger in the last round at Quad Cities. But little Ed Fiore, 5'6", about 240 pounds, he did something so funny in a round of golf, I still to this day laugh. We're at Nicklaus's tournament at Muirfield Village up in Columbus, Ohio. He's behind a tree, and he's trying to hit this shot, and man, he takes about 20 minutes to hit this doggone shot. And I said, what the heck is this guy doing? So he finally takes a shot. The club hits the tree, breaks off, conks him right in the head. He is down on the ground, out. My caddy and I run over to him, and he just woke up, right? And he said, I said, Ed, you okay? He says, yeah, I'm okay. He said, but where'd my ball go? My caddy, I said, don't tell him. My caddy said, well, Ed, I'm sorry to say the ball went right in the middle of the lake right there. It was hilarious, but here's the funny part about it, is that word circulated back to the clubhouse about Eddie Fiore's knockdown 7-iron on number 5, and all the caddies got wind of it. And when we finished that round, it was a lot of people were waiting for us, and it was a funny sight.
Oh my gosh, that is a great story. So, on your show, radio show, get back to that a little bit. Tell us about us being a sponsor of your show.
You know, I think even though it's a national audience, Sirius XM radio appeals to a wide variety. We get calls in from Seattle, California, Montana, north of the border. even though I'm doing the show out of Naples, it's a national type of audience. I think that Naples is a national pool of talent. I mean, you know something, we want to appeal to people from Chicago. And so I think with your real estate group coming to bat with us, I think is a good play, because there are people out there, baby boomers, that are retiring every day and they're listening to golf.
Yep.
So I really applaud you and Michael and your daughter for putting this together with us. I hope it pays dividends for you. I think it will, because our golf fans are crazy about golf.
That's right.
And I know they're up sweating right now. Sometimes in the summertime they get a lot hotter than they think it is in Naples. People would always say, "Man, how do you live your summers in Naples?" I said, "Easy, man. I was just in Chicago last week. It was hotter there than it is in Naples." But as they're watching the show or listening to the show, I know they're freezing in north of the border and some of these other places. So when they hear a show emanating from Naples and they have the York Real Estate Group, it basically gives them somewhere to start their research on coming down to Naples or Florida in general.
I think that's why we're behind it, because Michael, as we know, is pretty much a scratch golfer, and he's played just about every course in Naples, and we feel that part of looking for real estate in a golf course community, that you need somebody that can explain the golf course and has played it.
Michael's perfect.
So,
I mean, he's perfect for this niche, because it's a big real estate world out there, as you know, Jim.
Yep, it is.
And for him to specialize in the finer golf courses, I mean, we have some guys down here that kind of hit on the edge of golf course properties, but they don't have the expertise that Michael has. I mean, he's dealt with people when he was in the golf business working for Alf's Golf Shop.
Right.
I mean, he had a good rapport with people.
Yep.
And that will help him, because they're going to trust him. He's a scratch player. He's playing with me in an event in a couple of weeks. But and I'm bringing kind of a sandbagger there, but I don't know. I don't know what his handicap is. I just know he's a good player, and I've heard that he's a scratch. But I think it's a good thing for any national advertiser to basically advertise on Sirius XM and basically the golf part of it, the PGA Tour Radio.
Well, Mark, I want to thank you for coming and explaining your new venture, and we're all excited about it, and we'll just keep you on, come on again and give us a little update on it. And again, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for being a good part of our show.
Thank you.